Hello and welcome to MGP388. I'm Kevin. With me as ever, the sheepdog Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
Konnichiwa.
Hello.
What on earth just happened there, Anna? What was that?
Just came out.
I've never experienced you konnichiwaing before. This is very new.
Did you bow as you said it?
Yeah.
Have you been secretly learning Japanese, or what's going on here?
It was just there. Just came out.
Just a spontaneous konnichiwa.
Yeah.
I instinctively bowed back at you. I assumed you bowed as you said it, and I bowed my head forward. It's just polite.
I'm impressed by everybody's politeness. I do need to get an apology out at the start of this week's podcast because there was no podcast last week, and apparently Mr. in charge of the social media didn't bother to tell anyone. So
Pab!
It wasn't me.
you know full well you're the one who's supposed to be doing that, sheepdog. You absolute monster.
I
You
wouldn't
told
have even been
nobody.
awake by podcast o'clock. Just wouldn't
You
have
are
been
you're an adult human. How are you not awake on a Saturday morning?
I'm
You're a
tired
monster.
Man. I'm a very tired man. Saturday's my only time I'm allowed to sleep until I want to, although not tomorrow.
Well, there was no podcast last week because if you use Discord the way we use Discord, you'll know that Discord just completely collapsed worldwide about 10 minutes into our podcast last week.
Yeah.
So we gave it about 20 minutes for it to come back up. It didn't, and then we just went to bed. So yeah, you only missed about 10 minutes of absolute gold. It will be an extra. It will be on the bloopers of our 8th studio album that comes out later this year. So you can pick it up that way. If anyone really wants the missing 10 minutes, if you send a check for £5 to Sheepdog, he'll forward you the footage.
The usual address. It was quite unsettling last week because I was like riffing on a story and I paused to hear your response.
He paused for laughter.
One of the many punchlines I did. I basically paused for laughter. There was just silence. And then I was like, hello? Hello? Anybody there? And then I thought, oh no.
And then he assumed, well, that's how...
Well, no, it was a
50% of my
really long
jokes land,
pause,
so
and I
just
was
went.
like, are we supposed to be laughing? Was that funny? No one was saying anything. And I'm like, hello?
None of us thought it was anything out of the usual, out of the ordinary, because we often have that reaction to Sheepdog stories.
Well, the week
Are we
before,
supposed
you
to
were
laugh
just
now?
like, I'd be chatting and you'd all just go... looking at your watch, and I thought that was happening. And I was like, "Oh no, I should probably should edit this out." But I went in and out of the group a few times. I hadn't even noticed you lot talking about it being down, and you'd all kind of gone and done technical stuff. I was still just fanning around on my own.
If anything doesn't work, I just go onto isitdown.com and see if anything is down. Because
I just went to Discord's Twitter account, and they were already telling people, "Yeah, it's broken." It's been it was like a whole thing. All of America was broken.
Yeah, Cloudflare was broken. That's like a platform everything uses.
Exactly. Apart from Twitter, apparently, because I got the answers off Twitter immediately, which is very useful. But yeah, that's why there was no podcast last week. If we have issues like that in the future, Sheepdog does promise that he'll let you know about them and post a picture of Pab. You basically owe these people a Pab picture.
It's the
Sheepdog.
thing. I was prepping. I was like, I almost said, Sheepdog, do you want a picture? Because I'm sure you haven't got one for this year. And then I didn't think anything of it, and then forgot about it altogether.
Have you underestimate how many pictures of you sleeping I've got on my phone?
That's just weird. It's,
It's actually quite
weird.
disturbing. If they wanted to find out who your stalker was, then they looked at my phone, they'd think it was me, hands down, easily. Yeah, there's probably
Luckily-
more pictures of you asleep than there are of my kids awake and smiling.
Luckily, because me and Pab care about community engagement, we were both able to get the message out there. I was streaming at podcast o'clock last week, so I had several people turn up at the start of my subathon. I was all excited, thinking, "Oh, look at all these viewers! Where's the podcast, Kev?" There is no podcast this week. Stick around for this. I'm live for hours.
Maybe that's my plan all along. Did they stick around?
Well, I ended up having to stream for 14 hours off the back of the subathon, so it went quite well. So maybe no podcast it was the key to it all. If there'd have been a podcast, I might have just had to do a short stream.
I wrecked your Saturday. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I got to play an entire season of Football Manager in one go. I've answered the age-old question, how long does it take to play a season? Because we started at 10 a.m. on the Saturday morning, went all the way through till... we started a season at that point, and the season finished at 11:57. Wow. I said, right, I'm not going past midnight. Midnight is the cut-off. The season finished 3 minutes before the end. So that's how long it takes to do a season on Football Manager. At least a championship season, a 46-game season, 14 hours, with a half-hour break to have some fish and chips while everyone watches your latest YouTube video.
I noticed you do that. I thought that was very clever and sly of you at the same time. That you got, while you're all here, I'm going to have a break and you're going to watch this.
Yeah, well, I needed to have dinner. I tell you what, I used that half hour well. I was in the house, got in the house. Me and Anna ordered fish and chips on Just Eat. I then went upstairs to have a poo. I then came downstairs, refreshed all my beverages. So got myself some coffee ready to go back outside. Filled my flask back up. Just as I was finished faffing through there, knock on the door. Chips have arrived. Sit down. I'd eaten almost all of my chips, got everything sorted, and I was still back outside with a minute to spare on my half hour. It was done with military precision. Congratulations to the local chip shop. You did well getting out. But unbelievably, it didn't have many orders at 4:00 in the afternoon. Who'd have thought?
Did they put all the stuff you asked for in them? Because they seem to forget salt and vinegar on all of mine at the moment.
Right, I remember you mentioning this. I don't know if it was last week in the lost episode or what. But I was very careful when I was ordering just to see what the situation is. And there's nowhere to even tell them if you want salt and vinegar or not.
I put it in the notes. There's like allergy notes. I just write salt and vinegar.
They're notes for the driver.
No, the allergy notes bit. I think you have to go to it.
Why would they read them?
Yeah.
The allergy
they obviously thought I was taking the mickey because I'm like, allergy notes. Please add salt and vinegar. I also put it in the driver bit because I think they might read that and they might go back and go, this ain't got salt and vinegar.
They ain't going to go back, are they?
No, they never have.
I mean, do you not have salt and vinegar in your house?
Yeah, but it's not their salt and vinegar, is it? There's a difference. And,
is there though?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
And,
I mean, Anna buys her vinegar from the chip shop. She sends me in for a bottle.
That. Yeah. I used to get my burger sauce from a kebab van in my old flat because it was the only sauce worth eating back then. I don't know where their sauce is. The other version of sauce, not burger sauce. Where they buy it, because I should go there surely, rather than spending £2-3 on vinegar and sauce.
I imagine if you were to Google chip shop vinegar, you could probably find a wholesaler relatively easily. You could probably supply Anna with vinegar. She'd buy vinegar off you if you bought a job lot of vinegar.
Sheepdog's old-timey chip shop vinegar.
Yeah. Anna, you'd buy some vinegar off Sheepdog, wouldn't you? You love a drop of vinegar.
I may have 25 pints of it if this beer you gave me don't turn out very well. I started that beer kit you gave me, a year ago?
Oh, gosh.
I don't even remember giving you a beer kit.
Yeah.
What was this in aid of?
It was,
Why did we give you a beer kit?
Oh, you just said, I don't drink anymore, and someone gave me this. Do you want to brew it? And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then it's just sat in my cupboard for...
And then he never did.
I made a mental note that it went off the day after my birthday in 2020, and you have to brew... It takes 30 days to brew. Once it's brewed, I'm assuming it doesn't go off overnight, but you had to have brewed it by that point. I'm guessing. So I happened to look at the date and think, it's 30 days to my birthday. And then I thought, it's 31 days till the beer brew kit runs out, and I just got out our soup maker because I knew it could hold a lot of water, and I filled it with water, and then I was funneling it all into this bag. It inflated once you filled it and you put it in a cupboard. Come back the next day and it inflated so much. I'm lucky that I read the instructions properly and screwed the tab, just the cap on it just right, because that could have blown up and covered my house in beer. I reckon that's probably the real reason you gave me it back in the day, because it has expanded so much, and I keep having to check on it because it apparently only expands in the first 4 days, and it's been like 3 days now, and I'm thinking it's just going to explode. I'm going to come down, there's just going to be this disgusting malt sludge everywhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if
you
it goes
still drink it.
I might lick it up, but if it goes a bit sour, I'll sell it as Sheepdog's vinegar. I don't know whether beer can turn into vinegar, but they do beer battered chips and stuff, don't they?
Confident it's a separate process. Vinegar production against mouldy beer production.
It's just leaving wine to go funny in it, I think.
I don't think it is.
I'm sure it is.
I'm Googling it now.
I'm only guessing that because I remember when I worked at an old job, the owner of the job gave everybody like 5 bottles of wine for Christmas, and this woman was really grateful. And then as he walked out the door, she went, "It tastes like vinegar." I was just like, ugh. And then I wondered why she'd said that, and then I Googled it at the time and thought, oh, vinegar comes from the same place as wine, does it? But apparently it was disgusting wine. I didn't drink it. She put me off.
There you go. I've just posted a link to where you can buy a pack of 12 chip shop vinegars on Amazon for £17, which actually is a bargain, because when we do buy it from the chip shop, they do charge us a couple of quid for it. So we might be ordering our vinegar in bulk, Anna.
Cool.
Don't drink it. I don't mean don't drink it. That's not the advice I was trying to give. Don't pour it on everything, because I've got a friend who is bald from the amount of vinegar he consumed as a
I'm not
child.
bold, please.
At least that's the explanation he gives. That he went
I
to the
think
doctor.
he's lying.
He went to the doctor, and the doctor asked him what his diet was, and he explained how much salt and vinegar, crisps and vinegar he had, and they were like, "That is ruining you. Your hair's going to fall out." And then within a year, he was bald. And
probably through the worry that he's drinking too much vinegar.
yeah, maybe. But it does make me think. Every time I pour vinegar, I'm like, "Can you? This is risky business, sheepdog. You're like, you're on thin ice here, thin air. Do you really want to be risking that vinegar?"
Listen to him pretending he's still got hair and needs to worry about the vinegar. You have as much vinegar as you want, sheepdog. It isn't going to have any impact on you. You're fine.
Now I've got a new hairdresser now who doesn't like your hairdresser, because I mentioned that he always gave me a bald patch, so she's cut my hair in such a way that it shouldn't happen as badly as when he cuts it. I was like, I said to him, I'm pretty sure my mate told him to do it. He always says he does, and he laughs, and I think he probably is doing it. It's probably not a joke.
I've been going to that hairdresser for over 30 years. He'll do whatever I ask him.
But we both agreed he's a very mean man. And yeah, I'm not going there anymore.
He's not mean. I walk in, he says hello, I sit down.
He's not mean. He's a lovely bloke, to be fair. He just doesn't listen when I say, "That's enough now, you can stop cutting."
I just say the usual. He cuts my hair in silence. That's what I'm looking for from a barber.
I literally ask him to stop, and he carries on, and I ask him again to stop, and he carries on, and then he cuts.
He
a big
knows
chunk
best,
out.
sheepdog. He knows best.
It's very frustrating, because I always then have to brush my hair a lot afterwards to cover up the gap he's left.
He can only work with the tools you provide him with, sheepdog.
Yeah, he's
not going to glue hair to your head.
He's using a frigging shaver on my head, and I'm like, "Mate, just I don't want it cut anymore. You can stop." And he's there with his sanding tool, just making sure.
Yeah, he's polishing it. He's got the bowling ball polishing kit out.
He's a monster.
So that mean if you're going somewhere else now, I can stop paying him extra. We're sorted.
Yeah, you can. It's just a woman who lives on my estate. Just happens. I don't even know if she's really a hairdresser. She just put a card for our door, and then Claire invited her in, and she cut all her hair, and she did an all right job. So I'm like, yeah, sorted. We'll just put up the bat signal whenever we need her now. She lives behind our garden, apparently, or in my garden. I wasn't quite listening.
Perhaps she's the one who plays the loud music.
No, she actually mentioned it, which was quite funny. I didn't tell her I was on the radio about it, but I told her that, yeah, we're not happy with it. She actually gave me the courage. She didn't tell me to do it, but after talking to her about how ridiculously loud it is, I put a little note into the council saying sort it out, and they're going to deal with it, which is quite exciting, because it's a little bit stressful, because I know they're gonna retaliate in some way. Because they'll just guess it's us. It's apparently anonymous, but now I know that people can hear him like way down the road behind our house. She sort of said there's him, and someone else keeps playing Meatloaf apparently over their side of it. So she's had a doubly bad lockdown, whereas I can't hear the Meatloaf person because the guys next door to me are so loud. Maybe they're trying to drown out all the Meatloaf, and I never hear it. Maybe they're heroes. Maybe when I get rid of them,
hey, there's nothing wrong with Meatloaf. That's
what I'm saying. Maybe they're not Meatloaf fans, and the moment they stop with their horrible music, I'm just going to hear loads of Meatloaf, and then I'll end up hating him as much as I'm hating George Michael at the moment, because all I'm hearing is George Michael. The Spandau Ballet, I never thought I'd hate Spandau Ballet.
Oh, I would have been around there already.
So, this, I was going to try and say this up front, but we're 15 minutes in. And this is going to be the long-awaited The Last of Us 2 spoilercast. So, the rules of the spoilercast are thus. I've mentioned to you now that this is going to be a spoiler cast. So if you are, because Sheepdog was very worried about this last week, if you are operating heavy machinery or driving a vehicle or some other way unable to stop listening at a moment's notice if you don't want spoilers, consider this your 15, 20-minute warning that at some point we're going to sound the spoiler cast alarm, and from that moment on, anything goes. We are going to save it to be the last thing that comes up on this episode. We're going to do all the normal stuff first, but at the end of the episode, we will warn you again that spoilers are coming, and from that moment on, we will be talking about The Last of Us 2 in its entirety, all the plot points, the ending, everything, anything goes. You have been warned. If anyone moans about this... Oh, I'll write you a very stern letter.
I just remember there being somebody last time who was like, they were like, I set up the podcast, I got everything sorted, and then I can't remember whether they were riding something. They can't have been on a motorbike, 'cause that seems insane. They might have been on a bus or something. I don't know, whatever it was. I don't know why they wouldn't have been able to do it on the bus. Whatever it was, they couldn't control their device, and then they were just stuck there. Like, and they messaged me just like it was just unbearable because they were really looking forward to playing it and they were stuck. And I just thought, I can't imagine how that really works, but I remember specifically and vividly that someone talked me through how they were just ruined, and they didn't mind that it wasn't our fault. They were just letting me know about the stupid circumstances. But yeah, I like that we're giving them a good 20 minutes notice, because hopefully if it's a bus journey or whatever, they're sorted. But
I mean, if they're on the bus, you're allowed to just pause the podcast.
Yeah,
you're
I
allowed
don't
to just
know
reach
either.
your phone and stop it. It's fine. I mean, I imagine there's a surgeon doing very difficult surgery, and rather than listening to us on his Alexa like a normal person would, he's got us on his headphones. Because I assume they have their earbuds in when they're doing surgery. And now he's now rushing, sewing his heart back up so that he doesn't get spoilt for The Last of Us 2.
it's one of those where they're doing the back of the brain and the person's also awake and they're like, I haven't played this yet, stitch me up. They can't move at all because they've got a surgeon's hands in their head.
Don't worry about stitching me. Just tape it. I'll be fine. I'll wear a hat. Just let me get out of here.
God.
So on that note, what have we been playing over the last couple of weeks, boys and girls?
Okay.
Anna, you've been playing your new Ghosty game, haven't you?
No, I haven't. Don't like it.
You don't
Tell
like
us
it?
about the Ghost of Tsushima.
Don't like it.
Why?
Why don't you like it?
I don't know. I don't know what I want. I think I wanted an actual Assassin's Creed game, and it wasn't. It's not that. I just find it very samey. I find that I don't know. It just seems like I was doing like it's the start of the game, and you can get a bow in this game. Like, spoilers, but you can get a bow. Like, it's not. It's
that
a
person
weapon.
on the bus is just weeping now.
I think there's a bow in the trailer, so I don't think it's that much. But just like doing that quest line was just so annoying because I had to keep going back to the same area where this person was to do their quest. It was just very samey, and I just felt bored of it.
It sounds like a tutorial, Anna.
Maybe, but I've had enough. I'm not in the right frame for that kind of nonsense. It was just, I don't know. I'm just not in with it. It just didn't give me, like, I wanted Assassin's Creed, like, Odyssey, and it wasn't. People were saying, oh, you can play it like an assassin. It's Assassin's Creed of Japan, and it's not, and it annoyed me. So I'm not playing that at the moment.
Can I jump
pretty.
in?
You can.
You can jump in, sir.
This is the Assassin's Creed game I wanted.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, it's probably the Assassin's Creed game Kev wants, because there's no boats.
What is Desmond?
There's no boats.
Speaking of Desmond, my friend was talking to me about Assassin's Creed yesterday at work, and he seems to think that story's been in all of them still and is really ramping up and all of this. And I was like, my friends talk about this as though the whole Desmond thing was discarded, and he's adamant it's not Desmond, it's a woman at the moment and all of this, but he said it's still the same story. And obviously I don't play him, so I couldn't say either way, but I was like, Kev keeps saying that the story he was interested in is long gone, whereas he was literally the guy at work was literally saying that's the only bit of it he's interested in, and it's really good and he's loving it. And I just thought, does Kev know?
Like,
No
Desmond,
no interest.
Desmond is mentioned, but his story arc had finished. He had done what he needs to do, and now it's going on elsewhere, because it's not just about that one guy. There's multiple threads to the story. There's multiple assassins. There's multiple timelines. Like, they're not all just from Desmond's side of the family. That's what I've come to. Like, they now, it's now like a gaming system. You put on a headset and then you can access your ancestors' history. Is what I think. That's how I interpreted this game. Yeah, I guess I'm just going elsewhere to find different things of Eden, I want to say. I don't quite understand what's going on, but I just like Assassin's Creed. But Desmond is mentioned, but I think Desmond is now done, and now they need to move on from that, because it's, I don't think there's a place for Desmond now. Though if you play Infamous, his name is Desmond, so you might want to go on that and play that if you want a Desmond game.
Anyway,
but
Ghost, I really like it. I was probably in a similar sort of. If we'd done the podcast last week, I probably would have been on the same. I would have been in the same boat as you with this. It was just fine. It wasn't really much going on. But playing it pretty much all week, this is the Assassin's Creed game that I needed right now.
Maybe I need to give it a bit more time, because I literally have opened 15-20% of that first area. Not a lot at all.
Yeah, I've probably only got maybe a quarter of that bottom island left. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's just it is just an Assassin's Creed game in a sense of you've got this big map and there's just multiple dots all over it. Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
Question mark here. Missions here. Side quests here. Everything just like an Assassin's Creed game. And yeah, it's. Well, let's go with the graphics and what it looks like. Mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I constantly use the photo mode. I'm just forever taking pictures.
That's something I've never looked like. Even like in other games, I don't really go into photo mode. It doesn't really do anything for me. Like, who am I taking the pictures for? Myself.
Yeah.
When I'm playing the game, I don't need to take a picture of it. It just, I don't know.
I just post them to Twitter usually, but yeah, just because. It's so cool looking, and yes, it is very samey. But I feel like there are so many different ways to go with it, in the sense of you get your like technique points, or whatever they're called. I think they're called technique points or something like that. And then you can then upgrade certain systems, and the amount of systems in this game, the amount of different things you can put these points into is frightening. There's like three different tabs of where you can put these points. One's like moveset, one's like abilities, and one's like
I don't get all of them.
There's so many. There's so many.
I was going through
so many different places to put your points. I'm like, this is kind of overwhelming, but. Once you start getting into it, and you start realizing what each one does, and what you can actually work with, and how it kind of changes how you play. The other thing that you see, and someone said this in one of my streams, that this seems like really overly complicated. The stance system. Have you got to the stance system yet? No, maybe
I have one.
You have I think you start off with a stone stance, don't you? And then you have the water stance, and then you have the wind stance. That's the one I'm on at the minute, the wind stance.
I only got to the second one and found that to be the best for defending.
So what you have, the stone stance works well against people with swords. The water stance works better for people with shields. And then the one I've unlocked recently is the wind stance, which is better for people with axes and pikes and stuff like that, like long ranged weapons. And being able to just like switch between them on the fly sort of thing so easily is so satisfying, to be able to like get someone who's carrying a sword and then literally bolt over to someone, and as you're running over, switch over to, say it's a guy with a shield, so you switch over to the water stance, and then you just heavy attack him, and it smashes the shield out of his way, and you kill him with that, and then you move to someone with a big long axe, and then you swap again and do exactly the same. It's very satisfying, and there's method. There's like, it's very methodical, but it seems very simple as well. Like someone said, it seems like impossibly difficult to get to grips with this, but once you've got it, it comes so naturally to you, and you kind of just go with the flow of it, and it just kind of just happens, kind of second nature to you. The story.
Yeah.
It's so you are trying to rescue your uncle. You go into a battle right at the very start of the game, and your uncle gets captured by the Mongolians, and you get booted off the top of a bridge, and you then are basically recruiting like an army to go and rescue him.
Yes.
And that's more or less what I know, because the amount of side quests and stuff is kind of baffling. As say, I don't need to do a main quest. I think I've done 2 or 3 main quests, and other than that, I'm just pottering about the map, following side quests. And the amount you go to there's like a hub like area. I think it's called the Golden Shrine or something like that. And it's like it's where you send people, like if you're finding people need help or whatever, you rescue people, you send them to the Golden Shrine, and they kind of populate this little hub for you. And there's constantly chitter chatter in that hub, and you can talk to people, and they go, "Oh, I know such thing's it," and then it pops up a question mark on your map, and then so it's like a possible side quest, and then here we go. So the amount of like kind of collectibles in this game is also insane. So there's fox shrines, there are haiku places,
yes, there is
hot springs. There are the bamboo things. The bamboo things are hard because you get these like bamboo like shrine type things, and they upgrade it's either something to do with your weapon or something like that. Something to do with your weapon you upgrade.
Yeah,
and to do it,
I think it's your sharpness or something.
Yes, exactly. So you have to cut through the bamboo, but you have to do it so it gives you each bamboo piece represents a button on the controller, and so you'd have to go like XXL1, and then you cut through 3, and then it'd do 5, and it'd be XXL1 square triangle. And you have to do that in the swipe of him swiping the sword, and then it goes 7. And you've got to then go you're just mashing the button. It's insanely difficult at first, but you do get the hang of it.
You can turn them off.
Can you?
Timing. Yeah,
really?
I like to look in settings.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just at the start of games I like to look in settings because I like subtitles and stuff like that. And I just was scrolling through what's that about? Oh, there's quick time events. I won't turn it off because I can handle them. And then as I was going through the game, I was like, I'm not getting any of these quick time events because they're timed.
Yeah.
And then I came across one and I was like, oh, I see why that would be a problem because it is fiddly. Like you're pressing L1 and then XX square. It is mind-boggling.
You're doing it in
very
a
fast.
A second and a half, maybe. You've got to do it.
Yeah,
it's insanely quick. You've got to do it, but it's very satisfying when you get it right. Yeah,
yes.
there's so many different things, and there's also shrines for like your general attire, so you can get new sheaths for your swords, new headbands, new face masks. There's gifts in the shrine every like few hours or so. A gift will turn up at the shrine. Someone's brought a gift for you, and it's normally like something like a mask or something like that. Usually, so you can just change the way you look altogether. There's merchants. There's upgrading. There's like different vendors across the world for upgrading. So like you collect things like supplies, iron, all these different things. You're collecting resources to then be able to upgrade your bow, your swords, your armor, and all these vendors are in like most like towns. So there's so much to it, and like I said, there's customization, all sorts of customization. There is so much stuff in it, and yeah, like I say, I've been craving an Assassin's Creed game for a while now, and like I say, I think I mentioned about a month ago, I went back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I was in the middle of a mission going, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know I just was lost, completely lost, and Odyssey is a ginormous map, and I couldn't fathom out what it was it wanted me to do. So I ended up, I played for about 10 minutes and went, I'm turning this off. So to come in fresh with this, and yeah, this is what I needed. I needed one of these old school kind of open world games that I can just run around in. So what I get from it, I get Assassin's Creed from it. I get Far Cry in tinges with like the campments. You have to like stalk encampments and take a camp out and reclaim it, sort of thing. I get Breath of the Wild with the exploration, like because I just want to run. I just want to run through these fields because it looks amazing, and you just charge through it. And I keep reminding myself, just get on the horse. There's a horse there. Use it. And I just want to run. I just want to run constantly, like I did in Breath of the Wild, and like similar sort of things. I feel like people, they saw Breath of the Wild that came out in 2017 and went, "Let's do that. Let's do that."
Yeah.
Because like the hot springs give you more health. The haikus give you more different things, like similar to like Breath of the Wild, where you would find certain items and it would give like you'd be able to get more health or get more abilities or something like that from encountering stuff in the world. I think that's where I get Breath of the Wild from this game, and I just really do like it. I think you might need to give it a bit more time, Anna, because I feel like you can really get into this if you stick with it a little bit. Because I have. I mean, so much so that I have only played. How many streams have I done? 4 streams this week, and I've only played.
Pop up a little bit.
I've only played Animal Crossing twice this week. Half of my streams, I was like, I just want to play Tsushima right now, so we're going to play some Tsushima instead.
Wow.
So yeah, and
unsubscribe.
I know. I almost didn't play it today, Animal Crossing. I was like, I could just play Tsushima again. I could just do it, just put it back on and do it again. Just keep going. But yeah, it is very, very good. It's the game that is filling my time, and it's perfect. I was also toying with another Witcher run, and I was going to start to, only because I played up to pretty much the Bloody Baron on the Switch version, and I've brought the save over from there, so I don't have to start from the beginning again. So I was like, we could quite easily do that again. And then this has come out, and it's like, I don't need to. This is scratching that itch completely. So yeah, maybe I would. I'd persevere on that. I think, yeah, definitely. I think the second it catches you, it'll have you. It'll have got you. It definitely.
I think I just wanted to go back to Assassin's Creed, the Odyssey. Odyssey? Yeah. Because I had that on the back burner for months now, and I got the Atlantis Dlc.
Yeah. And
again, I was finding it very the same. Basically, it was a map, and you had to go and do the same thing in each area of the map and clear it, and then the story progressed, and then I don't know what I want. I just want something that's different and it is the same. But then I got this, and I was like, no, I just want to go back to that. I just want to go back because I know the thing is with Tsushima is it's not button mashing. Now I don't do button mashing with Assassin's Creed. It's just I know that
method.
Whereas in this one, I'm finding it very jarring. Like I'm pressing buttons in that, thinking I'm in Assassin's Creed, and nothing's happening, or I'm just throwing knives, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So I think I need to get Assassin's Creed out of my system. I think it is now because I went down to Hades and I had to fight a dog with 3 heads, and I was just like, no, not doing that anymore, and I just put it away.
Yeah. I've had many. The button config is a little strange. Like R2 is to get on the horse and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've chopped many a horse's heads off accidentally trying to get on by pressing triangle.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it's like Red Dead all over again when you're punching your horse all the time trying to get on it. It's just like that again. I just like, oh, I've just cut that horse's head off. Oh, never mind. That's not my horse anyway. Never mind. And I just whistle at my horse, just wander around me. Oh god, that wasn't my horse. Okay, that feels so much better now. Someone else is walking home tonight now because I cut the horse's head off. But yeah, it's like I say, it is. And I tried the Curacao Mode as well. There is a Curacao Mode in this game. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I went
the black and white film grain look.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's very cool.
But it doesn't give you the prettiness.
Well, exactly. It distorts the sound like it's an old Curacao film, and it's like it's got all the film grain, and it's very like that. But there's prompts and stuff that are in colour, and you can't necessarily notice them. Like the unblockable prompt from certain things from enemies that's just kind of it lights up red when they're coming at you, and you're like, well, you can't see that anymore when it's in black and white. You don't see it as well, so it's like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's like like you say, the game is stunning. It is absolutely unbelievably good looking. But yeah, that I really am digging this game right now. Like we're going to talk about Last of Us. I would recommend Last of Us over this game every day of the week.
Yes,
but I'm having so much more fun with this game. I'm having so much more fun with Tsushima. I think Last of Us is more essential, but Tsushima is so much more fun to play, so much more enjoyable for me. So after coming out of Last of Us, then this is exactly what I needed.
Splendid. What else have people been playing then?
I've not really done that much. I've kind of played. I went back to Final Fantasy VII, and I feel like having a break from it has derailed me because now I'm kind of like, I'm just playing through it to see what's different. Do you know what I mean? I know the story, and I've lost momentum with it now. I saw an announcement earlier that Part 2's in the works and all of this, and I'm glad I saw that because while I was playing it the other day, I thought, I wonder if they're even going to bother with this. I don't feel like it took over the world as much as I hoped it would. Like I feel like everyone who liked it already went, oh cool, they've released it, let's play it, and for like a week everyone was excited. But I was a bit nervous thinking, I wonder whether they got the reaction they wanted and whether they'll bother finishing it. And yeah, I'm pleased to see that they are, but equally I'm kind of like, I will just sink another 40 hours into that when it comes out, I suppose. Whereas I kind of want my games to demand I play them, not to get too ahead, but like I was the opposite concern with Last of Us. I was thinking, I don't want to watch any of my programs with Claire tonight. I don't want to spend time doing the things we normally do together. I want to go and play my game. Whereas now I'm kind of sat downstairs thinking, I need to go complete that game. I've got a pile of shame to work through, and I don't want to start Spider-Man or Red Dead again without playing Final Fantasy because that's the freshest one I need to get through. But I'm just seeing it like a chore now, and that's a shame and a worry, really, because this is the perfect incarnation of Final Fantasy VII. I should be more up for it. Maybe once I get past the bit I'm on, I'll be a bit more up for it. But I was just finishing up in the market where Ares lives. I'm not that far into it at all, really, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I don't really like her. I wish they'd killed her off earlier in the story so I could just get on with better characters. Her monopoly on the story is crap. I prefer everybody else but her. So yeah, I think that's probably it. They're really labouring over it because all the weebs love her and see her as a gaming icon, and it's like, just stick the sword in her and move on. Yeah.
Wow.
Tifa and I don't want to. I always call her Yuffie, but they call her Yuffie in the last thing I played that had sound of her name. They were much better female characters. Ares is boring. Yeah, so I'm just sick of her already. Plus, the risk of motion sickness after playing such a well-made, well-polished Last of Us that absolutely catered for my weak little needs. Final Fantasy just doesn't, and so I do. That's part of it. It's what I have to think. Do I want to risk being destroyed by agonising sickness to just try and get through this game? And most nights I have not. And plus, to be honest, you said we're doing a spoiler cast, so I just thought, I don't even have to play anything. I can just talk about the game I played 2 weeks ago. So I didn't go out of my way to try, whereas normally I would try and at least play some new stuff to talk about.
You are a monster.
How much new stuff have you played?
That's beside the point.
I almost said that's beside the point, like literally word for word in the same tone, just because I knew what was coming.
How dare you question me?
I can tell you.
I have I know I mentioned this before the podcast in brief, and I know I talk about it every week, and I'm not trying to be annoying, but this weekend is the big...
He doesn't have to try.
It's the big Pokemon Go Fest event this week. Normally, this is the thing they do in Chicago, and like people fly from all over the world to do it, and obviously the pandemic has stopped that happening. So, I mean, they benefit from this so much, because normally they would sell tickets for, let's say, £20, $20, whatever, and you'd have to fly to Chicago. But now they've just sold the tickets for £15 and let everyone in the world have a go. And I'm not sure how it's going to work, but they're saying that tomorrow from 10 till, I think it was 7 or 8, it's the habitat's going to change in the game. Now, I don't know whether that just means the spawns are going to change. They're making it sound like the game's going to look different throughout the day, because it would if you went to Chicago. You'd be suddenly in an icy stage and in a desert stage or whatever. But yeah, they're cramming all the stuff in this weekend. Loads of like legendary events, loads of mythicals, shinies, this, that, and the other. So I spent my £15 on a ticket. I'm going to Fairy Meadows tomorrow to try and make the most of it there, and I'm just going to spend the weekend wandering around town playing Pokemon on my own by the looks of it, because I'm a loser. But yeah, I'm quite excited.
Make sure you wear a mask.
Yeah, I've got masks. Do you know what? I frantically, the masks I got weren't good enough, so I frantically went out to Hampton last week to buy some masks. Every shop I went in didn't. I even went in game thinking they might have some nerdy mask I could just buy to just get me through.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't sell masks, which is bizarre. I went in so many clothes shops that didn't sell them. I was with my son, and at the door of every shop, he squirted whatever cream, the alcohol gel on his hands. We were literally asking him if they had masks and leaving, but he was getting a squirt of gel at every shop. His hands must have been so dry after this shop. I went in like a pound shop and ended up buying these disgusting masks that have these lines. They were sewn wrong. So when I put it on, when I took it off, I had this massive red line down my face. But I wore that to Tesco to see if they had any yesterday. And I've got in my own head, I've created a fatal flaw that I'm now going to put out on the internet, and it's probably going to ruin everybody. But I suddenly thought, I hope I don't need to sneeze while I'm wearing this. And then all I could think about was needing to sneeze. And I was walking around Tesco's thinking, I don't want to sneeze, don't sneeze. And then suddenly I had to sneeze. And I thought, I can't take the mask off, what do I do? So I just sneezed without the mask there. I just sneezed, and then for the rest of the shop I just thought, I can't look in the mask. I don't know whether that's a dry sneeze, a wet sneeze, and it was just, the second I got out of the shop I just took it off and threw it away. I was like, I'll get a new mask. So that was why I was tweeting yesterday going, I need a new mask. The mask I got wasn't good enough. It wasn't actually that bad. It left a mark on my face, but I not the snot, the mask. I don't know what was in the mask. I didn't look. I just left it. But now I need to get that out of my head, because I've got 2 new masks, and if I put them on and then start thinking about sneezing again, I'm just going to convince myself to sneeze, and I can't keep binning them because I'm buying them at like £5 plus a pop, and if I just end up binning them like tissues, it's not going to work. But try really hard not to get that in your head, because it will wreck you.
It won't wreck anyone else, because everyone else is normal. Won't have to sneeze. Someone said sneezing. Now I have to sneeze.
It wasn't as instant as that. It was just, I was walking in, I don't know what, maybe I heard someone sneeze, and I just thought, oh, God, I wonder what...
I'd like me some of that.
No, I just thought, I wonder what you do. What's the protocol there? You're wearing a mask. You can't take the mask off to sneeze.
You have to sneeze into the mask. That's the point of it.
Exactly. But then I was just like, I don't want to sneeze into the mask. It'll be all snotty, potentially. Not that people particularly blow snot out when they sneeze anyway. I don't know. But I just... it was grim. It was grim.
I make a point of blowing as much snot out as possible when I sneeze.
Well, if you're holding a tissue, that's the best thing to do. But not if you're just wearing a cloth on your face and it's all going to get smushed into your nose.
Yeah.
It's very concerning.
Just cut a little nose hole in the mask so the snot can come out. Problem solved. Another mystery solved by Kev.
Well
Let's
done.
move on.
Another game review by Sheepdog. But
Magic.
yeah, no, the game, the weekend stuff looks really cool. They're releasing loads of new content for it, like new Pokemon, new stuff. I think for people who don't buy the ticket, there'll still be plenty of stuff on. But if you are into it, buying the ticket is basically the peak version of the game. It doesn't get any better than what they're going to do this weekend. And like, short of going to Chicago or whenever they hold another event, going to somewhere else. I mean, they had one booked in Liverpool that got ruined by COVID. But short of going to an event in person and seeing all the people there, this is as good as it gets. So I'm quite excited because I already really enjoy the game, and they're about to put it on steroids for a weekend. There's loads of extra stuff afterwards as well. It's their usual summer shenanigans after that, but this weekend is peak, so I'm quite excited. It should be good.
Sounds
Such a
good.
nerd. Any more for any more? More. You must have played more.
I can tell you, I've played about just over an hour or so of Death Stranding. Well,
why?
Oh god.
The PC one, or is that now?
Yeah, the PC one. Yeah, PC one came out, but last week before. So I've played. Steam says I've played about 70 minutes.
How many?
70.
Okay.
I feel like I've played about 15.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Not...
That opening scene is that opening bit where you play and you come over the hill, and the music's playing, and you're trying to bumble your way down that hill to get to the camp is very cool. There's very cool moments in that game from what I've seen thus far, but it's very incomprehensible.
How far did you get? What were you doing?
I pretty much got to like the first town, and I was naked with like some woman was there who was in some sort of spiky costume
In the game, Pab.
And then I had handprints. He had handprints all over him.
Yeah.
And because he can sense the people. You can sense people, but he can't see them. And I was taking a body somewhere, and I was at the back of a truck for a while, and then they came, and the body blows. Basically, when people die, they give off a certain energy, and it's like a nuclear blast goes off if you don't burn them before a certain time. And I was like, right, okay, and yeah, there is. It seems interesting, and I want to get back to it. It's just the fact that Ghost came out the same week, and that kind of took over everything that I wanted to do. But I do genuinely want to get back to it. It seemed cool enough. I just don't know what the hell was going on. It was very strange, and there was like these little bugs that the woman kept eating, these little bug things, and I was like, okay. And yeah, it looked very nice. It looked very pretty.
It's just strange.
It's a bizarre game, but people love it. People genuinely love it, and people genuinely hate it as well. And I feel like those are the kind of games that I want more than anything. Games that are so divisive that can give you that sort of reaction to people loving it and people hating it. Yeah, I like people.
I played this. I had no idea what was going on.
No, I didn't. Like I say, I've watched a lot of cutscenes, and like I say, this was about a week and a half ago as well, because, like I say, with Ghost coming out, that's just kind of taken over everything that I do. But yeah, I will strive to go back to it, and we'll come back to it as and when I figure out what the hell's going on. Because right now I haven't got a clue.
No, it's so I went up a mountain in my game, and it was so stressful I turned it off. I cannot be doing with the stress of that game. Oh my god, like when you got that thing on your shoulder that detects the BTs, is it? Nope. I was just like, nope, not doing that. It is because you can't see them.
No.
And you know, but you can see shadows, and no. I'm not. I think I'm past that in my life. I don't need that kind of stress anymore. But like I said, it is very nice. It looks good. It's but no, I could not deal with that amount of stress that game caused me. And I sold it. Mm-hmm. But it is. Yeah, like I said, it's a good game. It's just weird and. It's beautiful to look at, and it is a walking simulator. The story is mad, but it looks pretty. So go with that. It is so stressful though.
Yep.
Splendid. Any more for any more?
Should we just riff to let that bus pull up and let our listeners get off and take their headphones out and just call it a day on the podcast for this week?
Yeah, we are very close now, boys and girls, to spoiler o'clock. Anna, have you played anything else?
Nothing worth talking about, no.
Hab, have you played anything else?
No.
I feel like no one else needs asking. This is your warning, folks. I'm going to count down from 3. When I get to the end of the countdown from 3, you are in spoiler territory for The Last of Us 2. If you do not want The Last of Us 2 spoilers, end the podcast now. Come back next week. All will be good. We will never spoil it for you again.
If your hand's free, just shake your head furiously. Headphones fall out of my ears if I just sit still.
Exactly.
You know, I can't keep headphones. It's a wonder that I keep headphones on during the podcast. They fly off at any other point. And I don't understand how anyone can listen to this against their will at this point. But
so,
yeah.
Spoilers coming in. 3, 2, 1. Abby's the hero, Ellie's the bad guy. There we go. Sorted. Spoilercast done.
Are you kidding me?
I knew the only reason, if Kev didn't want to just randomly try and say that, he probably wouldn't have bothered even having a spoiler cast. It's the only thing that's been making him want to do it, I think. I just got that sense from him a couple of weeks back. I thought he just wants to spend the whole cast trying to explain why it's that way round.
There's no reason to explain it. I mean, in reality, they're both as bad as each other.
Yeah.
It's just a story of two idiots making dumb decisions. My fascination is the fact the whole internet seems to think Ellie is this super good superhero and
mad.
Abby is evil. They're exactly the same. That's the point of the story. They are the same.
I was explaining it to Mrs. Sheepdog. I said it is spot on in that the hero, the protagonist of the series and the supposed villain of the series are equally their heroes in their own stories. And it's not like, a lot of stories where Thanos thinks he's the hero of his own story. It's genuinely, everyone who knows her, everyone around her thinks she's the hero of her story and vice versa. There's no one's being held at their against their will. No one hates them secretly, other than some of the people that Abby was shagging behind his backs. But they were both the heroes of their tales, and you could play that story through from any direction, and it would have been the same. But what a cracking game, eh?
So, do we need to explain why people think Abby is the villain?
Because they're homophobe, transphobes.
No.
Is the main reason, I think, isn't it?
No. Okay. No. There is a point in that game where she is vilified.
Yeah, when she kills Joel.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Equally, Joel killed her dad.
Yeah.
So, fair's fair.
Just because I wasn't sure every time you saw the flashback, but did she actually run in and see her dad dead? Or is that just her imagining it? I couldn't really...
she came in and saw his dad dead. She didn't see him get killed by Joel, but he was already
she'd
dead.
have been 10, runs into her dad's work because something's going
She's
down.
not 10, she's about 14.
All right, I just took a number out, Pab. And
she was pre-muscle. That's the important thing.
Yeah, it was before she suddenly became stronger than me. But I was going to say, 15, 13. But all she knows is Joel murdered her dad, and she wants revenge, and it's all she can think about. And she becomes Butch to deal with it. She wants to become strong enough and big enough and brutal enough to go deck a bloke who's strong enough to have travelled across America and done that to her dad. So it's pushed her pretty hard. But her reasoning for wanting revenge makes complete sense. And then so does Ellie's, really. She's just watched him be killed, and she wants revenge again. It's just a shame that they never sort of stopped at the many opportunities they were given to do so.
Yeah, and that is why I think Abby is actually more good than Ellie is, because I think Abby got to a point where it was logical to stop, and she stopped. When she had the gun on Ellie in the cinema, at the part where we split back and did the whole game again from the other perspective, and she's pointing the gun at her, and she decides not to kill her, and she walks away. That is, okay, I get it. I don't want any more of this. I'm going to walk away. And Ellie had the opportunity to do the exact same thing. She's back at the farm place with her girlfriend, with their kid. They look like they've been there a long time. They've got the nice little family unit. She didn't need to get back involved. And the moment she left to get back involved, it was like, yeah, you're just you're the wang basket of this game. You don't need to go anywhere right now, and you deserve whatever is coming to you, you moron.
I can agree with that. You lot were saying, or Pab was saying, because it turned out we were all at virtually the same bit, weren't we? When Pab said, he told me I was about an hour and a half from the end. I stayed up that night and ploughed through it. And I agree with everything he said about this game could have just ended there. It wouldn't have been a very satisfying ending.
I wasn't satisfied with that ending. I was like, is this how it's going? Is this how we're doing this?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm disappointed if this is how it's ending. Because I feel like there's more to it. And there was.
Oh, see, I was convinced it wasn't ending there. Anna was sort of hovering over my shoulder as I was doing that bit, but not watching.
Right.
Oh no! In fact, you got to that bit first, didn't you, Anna? And I was just walking through that whole bit when they were at the farm, and Ellie's walking around the farm, and everywhere I went, I was just saying to Anna, if I go back in that house and she's dead, I'm turning this off. If I go in this barn and everyone gets dead, I'm turning this off. I knew there was a twist, and then they didn't do the twist. Instead, they made it a dumb decision by Ellie. The best storytelling mechanic there is she wanders back into the house and Dina's dead.
I know what you
Sorted.
mean.
Now she's got a reason to go.
Yeah. It was odd just being like, oh, I found her, we've got to go sort her out. It was a bit like, okay. Everyone's telling him to get lost, and you're thinking, yeah, he should get. A part of me thought that we were going to end up playing as him. A little bit of me thought we were suddenly going to play as Tommy, was it?
Yeah, Joel's brother.
Yeah, and we were going to finish the story with him. And I was wondering whether, I was sat there thinking, if we end up playing as him, that's a bit odd because he feels like a tacked-on character. But at least then, if he gets killed, you're kind of like, well, yeah, you didn't let this lie, or I hoped you might even get a choice. And that was what I was kind of expecting to happen. Just to skip forward a little bit, the fist fight at the end, that went on for so bloody long. And bearing in mind it was 2 a.m. for me, but I just kept letting Abby win at one point because I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm hitting her, she's hitting me back. I'm hitting her, she's hitting me back. I honestly must have spent about 35 minutes doing that fist fight. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Missing hits, I don't know.
Losing, by the sounds of it.
Well, no, I lost twice during it.
I don't know. I just, as much as I loved this game, and as much as I was relatively satisfied with the way that it ended, I just can't get my head away from the fact there was a better ending, and the better ending is Ellie walks back into the house, Dina's dead, and it's because Abby made it to Santa Barbara. She met up with the Fireflies. They all agreed, right, let's go and get this cure. After all, we're going to go back and get Ellie. They head back. They kill Dina. They're looking for Ellie. And then Ellie becomes the hero again. And then she can escape. She can do whatever she wants. She can have that fight. Because then there's a reason for Abby to go back. And she's still not making a villain's decision. She's still trying to save the world. So she's still got all those nice shades of grey. But it keeps the shades of grey for Ellie as well. And I just thought at that point, they really have turned Ellie full heel. And I don't know why. It just felt like they were doing it just to say, ha! We got you.
Do you think it's because they want to do a third, maybe? I don't know if they are. I assume they will.
They ain't doing a third. I seriously don't.
Are you sure? Because
I think they'll do a third with Abby. I think that will be
Abby and Lev's the obvious third.
Because I got to say, like, I loved the game and I'm really glad I played it. I think it was all brilliant. But from that bit onwards, I kind of felt like I went down to the house. She got beaten up and taken away and all of this. I thought she had a death sentence with that hole in her side, so I thought she's just on fumes now and she wants to just settle the score and she's going to die. Again, I thought they were both just going to die. I thought that's how it was supposed to play out. But the people that had kidnapped her and going through the house and just murdering all those people and releasing her just seemed like a really, really weird ending. Like, I don't know what... It was almost like someone else wrote the rest of the story and then they brought someone in to just go, right, I'm just going to add this house and you're going to...
I'm convinced they did a version of this game and then it went out for playtesting or QA or whatever it might have been, and they were said this ending, it's too much of an anticlimax. It's all story. You need a big action scene to end the game, and I think that was shoehorned in afterwards. That's how it felt, because it was so out of place. Because you could have skipped almost all of that and just had the two of them fighting in the water, and story wise, you're not losing anything. There was no reason for her to go on a 20-minute killing spree.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like you open that cage and they're like, "Oh no, she's not in here. She's down by the water." And I was thinking, "Why is she by the water? What's going on?" And then you go down there and she's hanging from a cross. And you're like, "What? What? I've just fought through hell to find her hanging off a cross, and now I've got to just let her down and kill her." And then the fight, I just thought this is a really bizarre ending compared to where it seemed like it was going. I think I was satisfied at the end. I was like, okay, I enjoyed that game. I'm really pleased to have completed it. But the whole ending felt odd of that bit. And I convinced myself it was because, like you say, maybe the Abby was going to go off and do another story, and maybe you were going to get a bit more Ellie going to find Dina. And I assume she just gone back to, is it Jacksonville? Was that the name of the town?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe she didn't. Who knows? Maybe it would turn out she was kidnapped and Kev's part comes back. I don't know. It was a bit of a weird direction, and I don't know. It stopped it being a 10 out of 10 for me. I'd say I wouldn't go below a 9. I don't think, because the whole game was just so good. But I feel like the ending stopped it being a 10.
Well, as we don't do numbered ratings, Sheepdog, I refuse to comment on your nonsense.
Yeah, all right. No, but you know what I mean. Like, it stopped it being a perfect game, is what I was trying to say then. Sorry, ignore my numbers. I just mean, anyone giving it below like an 8 is a moron, really, I feel. Like, unless you've got some really good reasons. But most of the reasons, I sat on Metacritic just having a look to see how bad it was, because I'd avoided it for the spoilers. But there were 40,000 reviews of this game, and 30,000 of them were basically, "Oh, it's social justice warrior nonsense," and people like that are just so dumb. It's painful. I hate you. Like, if you've ever said those words about a game, just end yourself now. Awful things to say about a game. And the amount of dickheads.
I'd like to point out, it is not the view of Mature Gamer Podcast that anybody should end themselves.
Sorry, good point. That's a good point. That's a horrible thing to say. I'm a hypocrite. But the amount of people who were going out of their way to spoil this game as well. You had it on Instagram, didn't you, Anna? I had it on my bloody YouTube comments. I feel really bad about saying end yourself now. I'm kind of in the back of my mind thinking, why did I say that? I am sorry, listeners. Just nip that in the bud now. Don't cancel me. But yeah, it just the way this got panned, I don't think it affected their income or anything like that. I'm pretty sure no one's not bought the game as a result of these people with their weird reviews. I know they haven't bought the game, but I guess I kind of revel in the fact that they missed out on a really, really good game because they don't like gay people. It's quite funny that they have basically shot themselves in the foot over something that's their own problem. But I don't feel like it affected the story. Do you know what I mean? Well, this is going to sound a bit of an odd way. What I'm trying to say is, but there's some media doesn't handle including things like that very well. And by that, what I mean is there's certain times when a program in America will come on and they just don't write it very well, and you think, you're really hurting the cause you're trying to support by making this story just weirdly over the top. Again, I'm sounding a bit off. I don't really know. I can't word it properly. But that wasn't a thing in Last of Us. What I'm trying to say, people will know what I mean. There's sometimes when you just think, that just seemed like you were doing it. And I'm in support of people doing that to make a point, really. But sometimes it feels like it's tacked onto a story and it feels cheapened. And like, I think a good example would be when I was watching an episode of The Flash and the characters were on a hen do and they kept just shouting #feminism constantly anytime a woman achieved anything, like opening a door and knocking a villain over. And it was like, that's not feminism. That's just you shouting #feminism. It's not feminism. Like, what are you doing? And that felt cheap. Whereas this wasn't like, I'm gay for like a whole game. It was just, she's a gay person in a game. It was completely like beside the point. It was just about her life, and people are acting like the whole thing was just everyone should be gay people are the future, and just, I don't know, somehow marginalising them for being straight. And it's just insane that people could be that offended by it. I'm sure not every one of them was some fundamentalist Christian that was absolutely furious with the Bible being defied, but it's just insane that these people can let it cloud their view of a fantastic story.
There's
Okay.
a lot of thickos out there, sheepdog.
It's infuriating.
So, I don't know about you guys. I found this to be one of the hardest games I've had to play.
In what sense?
Because of how grueling it was.
Yeah, the story
Yeah.
was torturous. The gameplay itself was fine, but what the actions you were doing was like, God, this is grim.
Yeah, my heart rate.
It's
was
just constantly
racing.
like, oh, it's so hard. It was so hard to play, and like I say, I don't know if you guys had guessed what was going to happen with Joel coming forward, but I played that on launch day, streaming it, and I was genuinely stunned into silence. Just like, what the hell has just happened? I was so shocked by it. And
I think the moment I knew it was happening was like when you're riding towards the house. I just thought, oh, he's not going to survive this. I'd sort of convinced myself what was happening. A little bit of me hoped it would be you going to avenge him while he was hurt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that she wouldn't end him, but it was too early to not be a death, really, wasn't it?
Well, this is the thing. It showed. There was so much stuff in the trailers. I was like, it didn't even cross my mind that the stuff in the trailers would be flashbacks. And I was like, well, they're not going to kill him because I've seen stuff in the game that I've seen him in the game. This isn't it. This is not the end of it. But he's going to rescue him. And we're going to go after this group. And then I was like, wait, what? I was like, did they like proper put a red herring in here? Because there is one trailer where they show Joel coming into a house and he's talking to Ellie, and that's not in the game from what I can remember.
No, it's not.
And it really threw me. I've been waiting for that for the entire game, and I was like, wait, did that not actually come? And I was like, proper gutted about that, but it's not. It's the end of there, really. But it really threw me.
They must have done a lot of that. I saw somebody tweeting. There was people who'd worked on the game who didn't realise there was some bits in there that they'd have had a hand in making. Like when you're at the farm, you can go up to the gate and she talks to the baby, and then you can go to the fence and she'll shout something at the sheep and all of this. But one of the guys said that he spent 2 days giving the baby hiccups to put that in the game. And he was like, I can't find any way to make that baby hiccup, but I spent 2 days doing it. And part of me was like, is there going to be DLC with the baby and Dina in it somewhere along the way? And he's going to have the hiccups probably. You're going to have to try and work your way through a bloody town with the baby without him hiccuping and disturbing the clickers or something. But I'm going off a bit of a tangent. But yeah, it was interesting to see that they had made loads of really detailed stuff that you wouldn't even notice, or it wasn't in there or whatever. So I'm not surprised they made scenes with Joel that didn't make it, but that could have just been that they trimmed the story a bit.
Yeah, like I say, the one that I was thinking of particularly was the original announcement trailer for it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so like I say, things change in like 3 or 4 years of development, and things are in it and things that was in the trailers aren't in it now. It is what it is. But so from then on, you play what, 3 days worth of Abby, don't you? 3 days worth of Abby.
Yeah, you do 3 days of each of them, didn't you?
It vilifies Abby to no end in that group, and the second it changed and you're like back to day one, and you're like, wait, what? Because you get to day 3 and you get a certain point and it goes day 1 again, and then you're playing as Abby, and I was like, the disappointment and like, oh, what the hell are we doing now? Why are we doing this? Up to the point where you get back to the cinema and I'm like going, just kill me. I'm just standing there, just kill me. I don't care. Can this happen? Please let her just kill Abby, because I'm still on that point where I'm all on Ellie's side and we're all,
Really? What? See, I got back and I thought, don't kill Abby now after all the bloody journey she's gone through just to get to Elliot and get her at the end of a gun. I was just like, I thought Ellie's story, there's that meme going around, name someone who's had a harder struggle than her, and it's a picture of Ellie. And I was thinking, like, Abby was riding a horse through a burning village while people were dying around her, and, her journey was equally as stressful, if not more at points. She had to fight that massive ball of guts that...
Yeah,
goop monster. Yeah,
but I was just like, do not get me back to that cinema and have Ellie just put a bullet in her. I kept thinking that I forget the guy's name, the boyfriend, the dad of the baby. I kept thinking he was just going to shoot her because he only got shot. It only looked to me like he got shot in the cheek, so I thought he was just going to like whip a gun up and kill her or something. I was convinced that was how that was going to go down, and it was really making me feel frustrated because I was kind of half on Kev's thought of she's probably more of a hero than Ellie at this point. Because I kept thinking to myself as well, like, Ellie's killed so many people whose only crime is they are protecting a hospital that they are getting supplies for their people from. Like, they're not villains like the people in the house were villains. They're not random scavengers around town trying to kill. I know it's kill or be killed, but they were literally just another town at that point. And they had nothing to do with Abby's decision, and they probably barely knew that it even happened. But you were just massacring them left, right, and centre. So I'm kind of feeling that lots of people died for that vendetta that had no business dying. And yeah, I'd have been furious, I think, if I'd have got there and Abby had died, because I was in Team Abby at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it wasn't the fact that I was like I'm all in on Team Ellie, and to this point where he's like, okay, I can see that nobody wins out of this. Nobody wins. What I've heard people say, like, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and that is exactly what it is. Nobody comes out of it good, realistically. Nobody.
I'm surprised they didn't hit that nail on the head by blinding both of them at the end of the game, if I'm honest. It felt like at that point it was like, you've really laboured this now.
Yeah, I mean, literally, at the end of the game, someone pointed this out to me in the chat, that, like, literally, this vendetta has taken everything that Joel taught Ellie from her, even the fact that she can't play guitar at the end because she's lost her fingers. And
I never even thought of that.
She's taken everything from her.
Wow.
This vendetta, and it's like I say, it's a game that is one of the hardest games I've had to play, and one of the games, like I mentioned earlier, I would recommend this game to anyone. I won't play this game ever again, though. I will not touch this game ever again. It's just too much of an emotional roller coaster, and like such a slog. Like you've really got to force yourself through it.
Second time round, would it?
No, well, there's that as well. I would play DLC, but I would. This is a one and done for me. I won't play this again. It's just too much. And
in the bit where you're cat and mousing with Ellie, did any of you die at all?
Cat and mouse. What in like?
Anna, you said you deliberately let her die. Didn't you?
I did.
First time.
I did. Yeah.
It was horrific. Seeing her have her face shredded off with a shotgun haunted my dreams that night a little bit. There was a couple of deaths in that. I think I kept really going for it, and it was just too stressful because Ellie was so fierce. And eventually I kept just thinking maybe she's supposed to die at this point, and just trying it out, because it never seemed to end. A lot of these things I got confused and stuck in a bit of a loop. The big monster thing, I kept thinking that maybe it was supposed to break a door open for me, so I was trying to kill it for ages, and Abby kept going, you can't kill it, I can't kill it, it's not going to die. So I thought I had to let her I thought I had to stand in front of a door and roll at the right moment that it would knock it open, and I spent too long trying to get that to work, and it didn't work, before I tweeted you and Pab said, just kill it, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I just wasted it, and eventually died. But in the cat and mouse bit, I think I let her shotgun me in the face. I let her stab me, which was really gruesome. Basically, every way Ellie can kill you is incredibly grim in that bit. And I'm pretty sure I saw at least 3 or 4 of them because I just wasn't sure what to do. And a couple of them were by mistake, just because I was a bit like, I don't want to kill Ellie, but I equally don't want to die. I kept feeling like the game was trying to force me to have one of them die. I kind of put too much I kind of almost felt like I was playing a Detroit-style game that you could almost dictate the adventure, and which would have been fantastic to be able to kill Ellie there and carry on as Abby and have a proper story, or to let Abby die and let Ellie carry on and have a proper story would have put it to an 11 out of 10. You know, it would have been an amazing turn of events. But yeah, it was harrowing watching her kill her because it was just unnecessarily gory, really, which all of it was, because it's just realistic, isn't it? I suppose, but yeah, it was harsh, and I'm trying not to think about it, so I need to stop talking about it.
Sheepdog's going to give himself nightmares. Any more thoughts from anybody?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was awesome,
except for the hospital bit. But
I really wanted to go inside that hole that giant thing came out of. I went up to the hole and I thought, go on, climb in there. That's going to be ridiculous. And it wouldn't let you climb in.
I hated that bit. Oh, like to the point where I didn't want to play. I didn't play it for 5 days.
Really?
It terrified me. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
It's hard.
I just couldn't see where I was going. It was never ending. I couldn't get through the doors fast enough, and I didn't want to play it anymore. But I did all the accessibilities. I turned them on, up, off, round, and I got through it. I did everything to that game, so I could.
The little button that told you what way to go really threw me on that giant monster thing, because it just kept sending me around in circles, which is why I ended up. What had happened is I'd go around in circles till such point that it put me in front of this door, which is why I was convinced that's what I needed to do. But I think it was just leading me to bullets in hindsight. And right, I had a full shotgun, so I wasn't using it because she was telling me that bullets wouldn't work or whatever. But I think I ended up using like 20 bullets on it, and it died. And I can't help but wonder how someone on hardcore completes that. I don't understand how you do that, because isn't the whole point you have far less bullets at that point?
Yeah, bullet scarcity is a real thing in hardcore mode, yeah.
Because there was loads of points where I thought I'd never be able to do this, apart from the fact they just dropped 5 shotgun pellets on the floor. That house was very stressful. The one where you get the flamethrower and there's things living in the walls. That was stressing me out.
Yeah.
I mean, her journey was way harder than Ellie's. She had the house, the hospital, the burning village, probably other things I've forgotten. Whereas Ellie just kind of ran around the streets a little bit, didn't she? It was nowhere near as bad as what Abby had to deal with. She'd be the perfect person for Game 3, really. And is it Lev? I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
their story was really good. I kind of thought that Lev was. I mean, I understood that, right? That Lev was a girl that wanted to be a boy, and it was like a trans story. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I hadn't made up my own story, because it's been a little, couple of weeks. But I thought, really, when you first met them, I thought they were sisters, and then they were like, Lev's a boy, and I thought, okay. And then when they explained it, I was like, that's so good that they met, because I can't remember what. There's a film where that kind of happens, that there's a boy character, and then the monsters can smell blood, and the boy is on their period because it's actually a girl that wants to be a boy. I think was it Pitch Black? I can't remember now. I don't want to spoil the film. I probably have now. Anyway, but in that you could tell, because it was a female actress playing. She just had a skinhead and was dressed in boy clothes. Whereas this was obviously something they've drawn, but it was still clever because you could kind of sense it early on. Something wasn't quite what it seemed there, and then when they explained it, you're like, oh, brilliant. And again, it enraged a lot of idiots, which is great. So. Yeah, I like that. That was an impressive way to handle such a big topic, and again, it's just good to be progressive. I like that they've been progressive with their story.
It did seem to be that it didn't really reward you for exploring. So, like in the Seattle bit, I found weapons, but then Kev was like, "Oh well, I just went from mission to mission and found that weapon anyway," and I was like, "Well, what was the point of all that if you're going to get all the weapons anyway?" It just seemed a bit, why should I...
Are you sure it wasn't because we were in easy mode though?
I don't think so. Like, obviously I went to the bank and I did all that, and I did find a collectible, But then Kev went through that area, did what he did, and then got the weapon for that area without having to explore. And I was just like, oh, so I'm going around looking for ways to get in certain places and looking around in dark corners, and he's just being handed them and just walking through the game. It just seemed a bit. I don't know. Maybe
you couldn't do it without the flamethrower at certain points, and stuff like that, could you? I think you just had to. Maybe you were getting it early, and we were getting it when it was like, mate, I've tried really hard to encourage you down this route. Here's a weapon, you moron. Just take it.
Maybe. I just found it like. I guess it's for the people that like to explore, like myself. I go everywhere. I look at everything at least twice. And like obviously Kevin missed, there was key bits in the Seattle area that he completely missed because he didn't explore. Like there was a music shop that something beautiful happened in there, and he would never have seen that because he didn't explore. I found like I can't remember what it was now, but there was something that was you had to jump over a bridge, then you had to get down some way, and then you had to go under something to go and get like bits for the game that you needed. And it just seemed a bit when Kevin was going through, because Kevin is go A to B, not go A B C D, and then
I think I was in between because I've said to you before I had the button telling me what to do, but I feel like I explored most of the map.
Yeah, it just seems that you don't get anything for exploring because everything is handed to you. And I guess the game.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think I missed it. I don't feel like anything happened in many of the buildings. You know what I mean? It's like I do a bit of a puzzle. I know they had the collectible cards and coins. I found a random wooden egg thing that it said was like a special artifact, but it didn't do anything. Was that a story thing later on?
No, I think that's just from it's like an Easter egg, like literally an Easter egg.
Yeah. Okay.
From oh god, what's it called? Uncharted, and it was just like it's an Easter egg. It's literally an egg.
Because I got like an achievement for it, and I even read the achievements at the end, and it mentioned finding one of the artifacts, and I was just like, what? I kind of thought I genuinely thought I bet Anna's like walked down a random street and she's on some wild quest involving this egg, and I'm missing it because I'm following the arrows. But no, apparently not.
No, I think it was just I didn't find anything. It was just an Easter egg as far as I'm aware, because I found things and I wanted to know why they were in the game. And I found out it was just an Easter egg, literally one egg. So yeah, you found a collectible. Yay. But yeah, like you play the game as you want. I just like you do find other collectibles that you wouldn't find if you weren't in them places. But gameplay wise, for the weapons and stuff, by the sounds of it, you're just given to them at a different point in the game. Maybe you get them a little early if you find them in other areas, but Kevin just said he went past something. There was someone had one, and he just picked it up and took it and then used it. So I guess you need all them weapons.
Yeah, it was the shotgun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just there.
Is that what you can get that in the bank, can't you?
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that bit.
I just burst through a door and someone was sat on the floor holding one, so I picked it up and kept it for the rest of the game.
What, and you weren't in a bank?
Nope.
You didn't open a vault door?
Definitely not.
So they probably got to do that. They probably got to do that.
Like, the game must change somewhere. Like, there must be a bit of code going, we don't put that there now.
There are bits where there are corpses just sat there. I remember.
Yeah, they all had weapons at various points for me.
Yeah, for me, they were
every
just
single
corpses,
one of those sitting down corpses.
Yeah, probably.
So that must just be the point in the game where you literally need it because you ain't getting through.
I got the crossbow the same way.
The what, sorry?
Is there a secret way to get the crossbow? That's how I got the crossbow as well. There was just a corpse the other side of a door holding one.
I think that's
for me,
right.
I don't know if I found the crossbow on the boat or whether, like, Abby's bow, you mean? The crossbow.
Yeah, the crossbow.
Yeah.
Crossbow bow.
I'm pretty sure I got that on the big boat. And then I was going through.
Yeah, I was on the boat.
Yeah. Do you know when you get the bow and arrow on Ellie? I'd been going house to house, and there's like a note about, I can't remember the guy's name now. It was just a note about a guy, and then there was another note about him, and I just noticed his name on 2 or 3, and I thought, wonder if he's going to be an important character, because he keeps popping up. It keeps talking about how he's dealing with something or he's doing something. And then there was a trophy with his name on for being good with an arrow, bow and arrow. And then it was like on and on and on and on and on. And then I happened to just walk into this house, and there he was. Like, he'd turned into one of these, fungus head things. But he had his bow and arrow kit on him, and you had to beat him up and kill him. But I was just, like, really impressed that they'd turned him into, like, a genuine, if you were paying attention, little side character. And, yeah, killing him felt a little bit like, oh, I've been reading your story for the past 2 days, and now here you are, and you're dead.
They do have stories throughout levels, don't they? Like,
it's very clever. Very good attention to detail. Makes it all feel real, doesn't it? Real world, and everyone's got a proper story.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Splendid.
People should play it.
It was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be frustrated if they made a third, or would you trust them to do a good job?
They'll do a good
I
job.
wouldn't. Yeah, it's Naughty Dog. Like, they can't. I don't think I've played a bad game of theirs ever. I think every game I've played since, like, what have they made? Crash Bandicoot. Loved it when it came out, like, back in the 90s. Like, I remember playing them. I can't play them now because I don't have the reflexes to play them games. But loved them. Then the Uncharted. Did they bring Jack and Daxter? Is that one of them? I think it is.
That was one of theirs, I think.
Yeah. So, like, I've never played a bad Naughty Dog game, and if they bring, because they have said that they don't think they'll bring a 3 out, but they kind of need to, I think, because we need to explore Abby and her friend. What's his name?
Lev.
We need to go down there and see what happens to them, because they just basically just go, and you're like, well, I want to know what happens.
Part of me thinks the third game would be quite simple. They could just have her do Kev's story. She goes, meets them. They go, we should go get her. She's the cure. And then you go hunt Ellie down.
Oh, no, I don't think I would want to do that. I think I'd just leave Ellie where she is now.
But she could be like late game, couldn't she? She could just be at the end. But then I suppose that would be just a repeat. You'd just end up fighting again in the water. Yeah, no, you're right. They probably just need to leave her alone. But it just seems odd to do. I was going to say it seems odd to do a story without her, but we just did a whole story without Joel. So
well, yeah, she let Ellie let Abby go. That's the end of it now. Her fingers are gone. What is they took everything of Joel away from her, so she's just like, maybe she's on her own. Maybe she doesn't go back to Jacksonville, but I think they're two are now finished and just do what they need to do. But I think a story of Abby, even though I couldn't stand her at the start, I wanted to murder that woman. I did not like her.
Great story growth, wasn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, when I was playing her, I was like, I don't want to play this game. I don't like her. She is, because I love Joel. Joel is like just so lovely. But then you think about what he did. Like, everyone could have been saved, but he was selfish because of his daughter. And it's just like this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, I do like Ellie, but I also like Abby, and I can see why and how it worked out and why it had to be that way. But yeah, I could do a 3 with Abby, but I think Ellie should just be left alone, and she needs to...
Do you think, having seen that story, if you were Joel and you know how it all plays out, would you have saved her? Would you have saved Ellie?
No, because she's a scumbag.
Kevin!
Save the world. She's awful.
Yeah, but she didn't know, did she?
She didn't know what?
She didn't know she could save the world. As far as
She did. When she made all the decisions she made in this game, she did.
Yeah, she did, but back then she didn't know. Like, and when you go through the game and you read all the notes and stuff, there was no one else after Joel had killed Abby's dad. There was no one else to do it. No one else could do what they needed
I
to
found
because
that
he
a bit
killed her.
odd. Like, how did they know there was no one else? Do you know what I mean? How could no one have learned it? That seemed a bit of an odd one. I'm not
Just because the Fireflies didn't have anyone else doesn't mean there's no one else who exists.
Yeah,
There's going to be other doctors out there.
Good point.
I found that really bizarre that they were just like, nope, he's the only one. Nope. And it's like, well, have you considered going like to Canada or to South America or just another state? You know, just have a look around. Like, I know they haven't got the internet, so they can't Google doctors who know about fungus cures, but like Yellow Pages, there might be one lying around. Just anything. Like, what was his background that he was the only doctor in the world that could do it?
Not a clue. No idea.
Maybe, yeah.
Plague doctor.
The only plague doctor in the world. Like, everyone said he was mad at medical school when he took Plague 101 and they all took normal science, and he got the last laugh until he got killed by Joel. Just, yeah. I suppose if you think too hard about this story, it kind of falls apart a little bit, doesn't it? But
Which is probably a good point to end the podcast.
Yes.
Before we all decide we don't like this game that we currently all love.
We love it. Like
This
Pav
would
said,
be a disaster.
not playing it again. Loved it. Great experience.
Excellent. Right, we will wrap that up there then, boys and girls. If you would like to do Twitter following stuff, you can follow the podcast, but apparently, even if you do, we don't tell you if we're not doing one. But you can follow the podcast at MGUK Podcast, or you can follow me at Lelujo.
You can find me at RB6K.
I'm Miss Lelujo.
I'm at Pab1986 on Twitter and Twitch.
Splendid. Well, we shall see you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening, folks.